Hey, I'm Ben Krakauer, and I'm out here on a beautiful day to teach you about some ways to memorize notes on the banjo. So I've got 5 ways I'm going to show you today, and then I'll post a part 2 video which has some advanced methods if you've already worked on some of this stuff. So the first thing to do is to know your open strings. So you've got G, D, G, B, and D. So if you haven't already memorized those, this would be a good time to pause and spend some time just memorizing those open strings. So the first thing that we're going to do is get each of those at the octave. So if you already know that this note is D, if you find it 12 frets up, there should be 2 little dots on your banjo here, or like a special inlay at the 12th fret there. You'll find that you'll get another D note at the 12th fret. So just memorize, you got D and D, you got B here, B, G open, G, D open, D, and then G open. On the 5th string, because it starts 5 frets higher, it's not going to be the octave here, but it'll be the octave here. So again, you should have an inlay or a dot way up there. I guess that's the 17th fret. So now you know you've got G, D, G, B, and D. So again, you could pause now and practice those a little bit to get familiar with those. Okay. Second way of learning notes on the neck. Find this G shape, which I'm guessing a lot of you already play if you already play backup. I guess some people call it like an F shape because you'd use it for an F chord here, but if you're using it for the key of G, you put it here at the 5th fret. So this is a G chord, but the next step is to figure out, okay, like what's your G note there? That's called the root of that. If it's a G chord, the root is the note that names the chord. So where's your G note? And you can take a minute to think about it yourself. But here I'll tell you. So you've got a G on the 4th string, and you've got a G on the 1st string. So there you go. So memorize that. That's G and that's a G. And then we can do the same thing. I'm guessing everybody watching this video probably knows your G chord, your C chord, and your D chord. So you can do the same thing for that same shape up at C. You've got, remember where your root is when you're using this position. Your root note is there, so it's a C chord. So you've got your C note there and your C note there. So just for some review, we found G and G, and then we found C and C, and then here's where we play our D chord. So we've got D and D, but you already knew that because we did this octave thing before. I'm guessing a lot of you know this chord shape. This is another way of playing a G chord. I guess sometimes people call this D shape because it can be used to play a D chord down here. But if it's up here on the neck, we're calling it G. So again, you need to find the root. So if it's a G chord, the root is the note that names the chord. And you could use your ear for this. There it is. So you get your G note there. So you can memorize that. So that note is G. So 2nd string, 8th fret, that's a G. And maybe when you play that note, visualize like the whole chord around it. So there's your G note. And then you can do the same thing for if you know how to play a C chord with this shape, you can do the same thing. So like maybe that's way up here on the neck. I'm guessing probably some of you haven't done that before. But maybe you've learned this thing where you go between this C shape and this C shape. But anyway, there's C. That's where the root is in this shape. So there's your C note, or it's also the same as just playing a C down here. There's your C note. So next thing will be using the bar shape. So let's do this. Let's make a C chord like this. So now that's a C chord, but where's the root note? So it's going to be here, 3rd string. So you got, so you can memorize that. It's a C note there, 5th fret of the 3rd string. If you move it up for a D chord, there's your D note. If you move it up to a G chord, G. And that's the same actually as this, just like the open is if you barred 0. So there's your G. And then one more method here for finding notes, but for this video for today, take any one of those shapes we just did So let's actually let's keep the D shape we just did a second ago, or the bar shape we just did a second ago. So if that's a D chord, we should be able to move this up 12 frets and have the exact same notes. So here we are at the 7th fret. Let's move up to what would be the 19th fret, and it's got inlays on it. It should have a dot here. It should have an inlay on it. So we're going to move that D chord all the way up an octave there. And again, that note's a D. So now you've got a D here and you've got a D here. Same thing for the C chord. Here's our C chord. Let's move it up 12 frets, which gets us to here. So from the 5th fret, that gets us to the 17th fret. So you've got a C note and a C note. There's also a kind of a trick I'm doing where, okay, if I say I'm at the 5th fret here, a trick you can do is, well, find your 12th fret, think of it as being 0, and then go up 5 from there. It gets you there. So you've got C and C. And then we can do that trick for all these shapes. So like, let's go back to the you can call it like an F-shaped chord for G that we started on. If you know these were G notes, we should be able to take that chord, bring it up 12 frets, and those notes will be G as well. So the C chord as well. You can move it all the way up to the very top of your neck if you've got a banjo with as many frets as mine. And you've got C and C, C and C. The D chord, unless you've got the extra frets, you're not going to get an octave of your D chord. But you know, and we can continue. Like here it is for that the D position chord at G. Find that note, that G note, then move the whole thing up 12 frets. And again, that same note is a G. And we can do that for C. We can do it for D. So yeah, that's a bunch of ways to learn notes on your neck. And notice that we're just starting basic. Like we're not worrying about all the like F sharp and C sharp or even like, you know, A and C and stuff. We're really just focusing on like, let's learn G, C, and D throughout the neck, and then we'll be able to build out from there. What'll happen is if you know, for instance, that that's a G, later on if you want to find F sharp, well, that'll just be a half step beneath the G. So it'll become a game of like, what note do I know? Like if someone says, find an E way up on the 2nd string. Well, you might say like, I haven't memorized my E's yet, but you do know, maybe you've already learned this. So you know that's your D. So then you can go D, D sharp, E. So just learning G, C, and D throughout the neck will help you find all the notes on the neck. So I hopefully that'll give you a lot to practice and a lot to chew on. Maybe you rewatch parts of this video again, or slow it down, practice it yourself. And I'm going to post a part 2 here that has some more advanced ways of learning notes on the neck that'll give you a real brain workout. If you like this stuff, please head over to my Patreon, which is linked below in the comments, and become a monthly supporter for $5 a month, and you can get all the tabs for all these different banjo videos I post. And happy banjo playing. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments and I'll try to